Silva here. I'm going to walk you through how to be making your model magic skeleton once you have already done your wire armature or wire base. We won't be needing our Sharpie today because today we're going to be putting our model magic on to our wire form. I'm going to open that package up, smush it around in your hands please, because it might be a little bit like dry feeling or kind of like not super squishy, so squish it around for a while. And then separate it into two different balls. We actually only need half of it. I made a mistake and only give you one piece of wire, so you only need half of the model magic to make one skeleton. The other half of your model magic you can make into whatever you want, any kind of accessories or clothes or like little animals to go with it or whatever you feel like. But go ahead and put that second piece away for right now, wrap it back up. And I like to double bag mine just to keep it super safe, especially when it's hot like it is right now. So you have your skeleton, right? First thing you do is you're going to make a little head. So I used less than half of my ball and I turned it into a head and I just smushed it right on top. You can press it down pretty good, kind of squeeze around to make it stick to the wire. I pushed too hard. You just pull it back up and then kind of squeeze around the cheek area to really get it stuck on there. The next thing you're going to do is make an arm. So I'm going to pull off another little piece and I rolled it into kind of a log and then I smushed it. I pulled off a pretty darn small piece. You don't have to use a ton for this, okay? Then I wrapped it around the arm. You can see how I did that right there. I also made sure that I extended part of it up here for the neck area. Did the same thing for the other side, so I roll it out in a log first, smush it, and then wrap it around the arm. So now I have two arms that are covered. I'm going to do the exact same thing with the torso. Right, and again, I don't need very much. I still am pinching off just a little piece at a time from the remainder of my model magic. Here is the legs happening. So, right, I'm rolling it into a log, then I'm going to kind of squish it against the table, and I'm putting it right underneath my leg. And I like to kind of pinch it around my wire form. So there's kind of the base of my body covered in model magic. It's kind of covered in like a thin layer of model magic. The next thing I'm going to make is the hip bones. I made kind of like a V or a bean shape. And then you'll press it flat on the table and set it right on top to make the pelvis. Next I'm going to make the rib cages here. So I kind of make a little bit of a teardrop. I made them pretty small. So there's one teardrop, then I smush it with my finger, right? There's my teardrop, smush it with my finger. So now I have two teardrops that I smushed with my finger. And then I invert them, right? I put them upside down, right kind of between the armpit and the hip bone. And you can smush them on. The last thing I did, because I had this kind of small piece of model magic left, was I rolled it into a little log and I made a sternum and clavicles. So sternum is like, goes right between your rib cage there, and your clavicle is actually your collarbone. I made those stick out. So then I took the end of an old paintbrush that was kind of pointy, and I made eyes and nose, little jawline and some teeth. I decided to use a pencil to make my eye sockets a little better. It really helped. And then I just used the backside of the paintbrush, which is kind of pointy. Anything around your house that's kind of pointy will do, to make the rib cage marks. And I made some spine marks here and little marks on my hip bones. I flipped it around and did the same thing on the back with the spine. And then very, very carefully, I kind of made my skeleton in the shape that I wanted it to be walking in. So there's my skeleton. And I recommend that you put it up somewhere high where you're definitely not going to touch it or it's going to get moved by anything like a sibling or a cat because you want it to be able to dry before our next class. So put it somewhere super duper duper safe. All right. I will see you next class and I hope that this has been helpful.